Hi, welcome to a community learning video on using Google Forms. So Google Forms is something we've mentioned in other videos, so we're just going to go in a bit more detail now on how you'd use this to create a quiz for students. So I'm in Google Drive and I'm going to select a bit of free space and right click, and that gives us this context menu. I go into more and select Google Forms. You could just web search for Google Forms and go straight there. You need to be signed in to do this, and this has created an editable form that's in my Google Drive that I can go back to at any point and change the questions and stuff. I'm just going to give it a quick title. It will save automatically, like all other Google Docs products. If I go up to the top here and just left click into there, it will name it the same as my title here. If I go along the top, I've got the option to change the colour palette of the quiz. I can click preview and open up another window. So this is what it looks like to the person taking the quiz. I've got a settings menu, and the things we might want to change here is probably not requiring a sign-in. So by default they're all restricted to people with a learningcommunitywest.net address, so I'm going to turn that off. Probably want to put a progress bar in for longer quizzes, and we need to turn the quiz option on. So under quizzes, just make this a quiz. And it basically allows us to select points scoring for people. Okay. So the basic way you create a quiz is you've got a little menu on the right here. We can add in additional questions with the plus, so it adds in more and more questions for the student. We can add in titles and descriptions, so we can put in an additional title to sort of split things up. We can add in images, which opens up a little box to drag and drop images in, just to make it a bit more interesting probably, but equally you can ask questions about the images. You can add in videos, and you can add in sections. So sections are like a break, and by default they'll be on a different page, so you're not seeing all the questions at once. So this might be like an advanced section. There is also an option on multiple choice questions. I won't go into it right now, but you can go to section based on answer. So depending on what they answer on these questions, you can choose whether or not they go on to the advanced section. So you can sort of make quite a complicated conditional quiz, but that's a bit more advanced. Okay, so the types of questions we've got, in fact I should also show, if I type in what is your name, and you'll see that Google automatically changed it to short answer. So it's reading your questions, it's trying to guess which is the most appropriate. Okay. Loads of different options here. So short answer, as you'd expect, is a short bit of text, a line of text. Paragraph allows them to put in more text. Multiple choice allows them to pick one from a multiple set of options. Checkboxes allows them to pick multiple options. Drop down is a drop down list, as you'd expect to see inside like Excel. File upload allows them to upload a file for you to look at. Linear scale is the sort of evaluating questions. We say, what did you think? You think of course. That would be a linear scale, 1 to 5, good to bad. And linear choice, multiple choice grid is also worth mentioning. So this is more like, what did you think of? And you could type in row 1, venue, food, and it will keep adding more and more rows in as you wish. Good, bad, okay. And you can also require responses with these as well, so you can, whether they have to fill things out. You can delete them, you can got other options as well. So these, if we go to our quiz on that side and refresh the page, you can see what those things look like. So what do you think of course? What do you think of the venue? Okay. The other things you can ask is date and time, which might be useful for booking things in, so it gives them a little date picker. So say you wanted to ask them when they want to attend the next course. And you've got the option here of what happens after you complete each section. So that's kind of just how you build up a series of questions for learners. The main thing is if we add in a multiple choice option, so what is your favourite something, they've got the 4 options to choose from, and you can add as many as you want. We've got this thing called answer key because we selected a quiz. If I click on answer key, I can award them a certain number of points for a correct answer, and I can choose which of these are correct answers. I'm going to award them the points. I can also hit add answer feedback, and I can give feedback on incorrect answers and feedback on correct answers, and I probably generally copy the same to both, and we can also put a link and link them off to something else. So that's really useful, just to give them some feedback and say, option B is incorrect because, put some information in, and I would generally copy and paste it to both, as I said before. And then you give them a link maybe to a web page with some more information on there for them. Okay, that's actually our quiz done. You just have to finesse it and keep checking, and I would just keep adding things in, test it, go back in, reload the previews and see how it works, see if you're happy with the things that pop up and how that works for you. So when you're finished and you're happy with this form, you hit send. Now by default it comes up with sending this as an email. I rarely use this simply because it's easier to go to this link button. I generally shorten the URL, and you can just take this and send it to somebody. So if I open up a new window, and I can send that link off, and they get the quiz, so they can start filling it out. They can complete all this, and complete that. So they fill the quiz out, and it tells them that it's been responded, and they can view their score, see how many points they got, total points 2 out of 2. And if I go back to my form, I can now see I've got responses 1. So if I go back into this form anytime, I can see that a summary of how they've scored, lots of different interesting things. I can get PDF of it. I can download the responses as CSV, I can print it out. I can see individual scores by person. I can turn off whether I'm accepting responses at the moment, even put up a message. And the other thing I can do, which is really clever, is create spreadsheets. This little green button here, I can create a new spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet will have in it all the responses. So it's a really useful way of recording stuff, and I can then even share that spreadsheet with other tutors, make it viewable. Okay, so that's a really basic look at all the features inside Google Forms. Really your best thing is just to have a little play with it as a system. Can't really break anything, so have a go. Thanks very much.